don't know what frat guys you guys are meeting, but I've never met a frat guy that was mean to me in my life.
I don't even know where to start with this one, y'all. Does anyone please take the wheel here? Okay, that blatant ignorance aside, as someone who did get dragged into Greek life for a short period of time and was in a sorority, today I'm going to share with you just some of my top stories of like the worst things that I had to experience when dealing with frat boys. And embarrassingly enough, I went to the University of Minnesota. Like, Greek life isn't even a huge thing there. This isn't even going to be the worst of the worst because our Greek life wasn't that serious. And let me tell you, the list was too long of stories, so today we're just going to do a few. And in no particular order, but I will be saving the craziest for last. Starting off strong here, I was once essayed by a boy who was in Sig Pi, who I thought I was friends with. He said he needed a place to crash at my apartment, and this was after I had told him that I was seeing someone new, so he had to just come crash. He didn't like that. And then after this, during the trial, right, all of his besties and his fellow brothers tried sliding into my DMs anyways, as if that was an appropriate time to hit someone up. Number 2, there is a tier system in Greek life. It's like a weird high school 2.0 where like there are top frats that are the most popular and then the ones at the bottom are losers. We were in one of the bottom tier sororities. And so the top frats just treated us like garbage all the time. Some boys would just refuse to speak to you, but I do remember like meeting some boys like casually, organically on the world, and I would talk to them for a while. And then the second they found out what sorority I was in, all of a sudden like they didn't want to talk to me anymore. That's how superficial they are. Going off of this, twice a year actually, we have like homecoming and spring jam, and you have to be paired up with frats and do events together, like you're required to. So one sorority will get paired with like 2 or 3 frats. And twice we were paired with Sig Ep, which was a nightmare because they were like just horrible. And we were required to do an event at their house. Like most of the events we hosted or the other frats hosted, but we were required to do one at their house. They didn't show up to any of the other events. And it was cold. I believe it was like winter time or something still. But I remember they decided we'd do a bonfire. We showed up to their house and they locked us out in the yard around a tiny bonfire pit. And they stood in the windows and watched us as we had to stand in the cold for about an hour or 2 until we were allowed to leave. And then in the end, they came out once time was up on the dot and took all of our chairs out from underneath us and waved at us as we walked away. 4, a lot of times if girls like drank too much at their parties, there was some sort of like a liability thing where they didn't want her in the house, so they would just drag random girls and leave them in the yard in the middle of the night. And mind you, campus was in the middle of downtown, so those girls were just in the middle of the city on the street passed out. Number 5, in a similar vein, there'd often be a lot of girls just like passed out on dance floors and stuff at parties. And boys would start like going for them and trying to make a move when they're like clearly not even really conscious. And anytime I saw it, I always tried to stop and intervene, like throw the boy off of her, go and get her help. But I also have to live with the pain of knowing that I'm not always around for every time that happens. And I just want to say to the girls who've reached out to me, because I helped them in those situations since, and they've seen my content and they're cheering me on, I'm so glad that you're okay and that I was there to help you. No one was there to help me. Oh, I was not expecting that. I'm so sorry. I'm glad that we're all doing okay now, though. Number 6, I got us banned from K-Sig for forever, or AKA for like 2 years until all those boys had graduated, because one of them like sent me a bunch of really horrible texts because I wouldn't hook up with them, insulting everyone in my sorority. And so I screenshotted it and sent it to our shared group chat and said, "This is embarrassing," and it started a fight between our 2 houses. And number 7, there is an urban legend that I learned after this event happened, and so I can confirm that in my opinion, I think it's true. So Pi has this legend that in every one of their houses, there is a room, and I forget the actual name that they call it, but it's essentially like an SA room. I won't get into explaining what that means. But one day we were at a party at one of their houses and we saw a girl right in the corner, like passed out, and we were looking for cups to get her water because we found a faucet, we couldn't find cups, and we were scouring the house looking for them. We found a coat closet and we were like, maybe plastic cups are hidden in this coat closet, right? So we go into this coat closet and behind the clothes, there's like a room. There's like a little Narnia room hidden in this coat closet. And back in that room, the first thing we saw were like various pieces of clothing on the floor, but it was mostly like underwear and bras and like a couple of shirts and things here and there. Already very foreboding vibes. But then we saw on the wall, and the wall had writing all over it in different colored pens. So we looked closer to try and read it. It was very dark in the room. It was reviews. It was reviews about women and sometimes their names next to them. And I remember we were standing in here, like, freaking out, like, trying to figure out what is this room. And then a couple of the frat guys came in and saw us in there, and they're like, hey, you got to get out of here. Like, you can't be in this room. And they forced us out of the room. And we were just on a mission to get that girl some water, so we did not question it until the next day. But after I heard the rumors about how those rooms exist, and I can confirm they existed in at least one of the houses. And those are just some of the very bad experience I had in my short-lived time in Greek life. But sir, I'm so glad that you've never had a bad experience with a frat boy. I really wonder why. Couldn't tell ya.